It's December 13th, 2016. The Sharks somehow, some way, steal a victory out of the jaws of defeat. You know what you should do? You should emoji the heck out of that shark tonight. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark following a somehow unreal 3-2 victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs at the ACC tonight. We will get into all of that with Rocket Backhander and Eric Landy in just a jiffy, but we need to remind you that Pucknology After Dark is presented by Audible, an Amazon company. You probably use Amazon probably sometime this week or even during the game. They partnered with us to provide a free 30-day trial where you can search and read up to 180,000 audiobooks. Go to audibletrial.com/PAD to sign up. You get a free book, no matter if you keep the service or not. You help to support the show. And like the Sharks, everybody wins. That's audibletrial.com/PAD.
Winning.
Duh. All right. That being said, let's say hello to the lovely and talented Rocket Backhander.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Looking lovely as always. And the name went into play tonight. Speaking of good names, the guy who has one, and he spells it the right way, Eric Landy.
Hey guys, it's good to be on the early edition. I think we're gonna finish up before 8:30, so I can get some gym time in.
Nice. All right. If you want to join the conversation, do so by using the hashtag PucknologyAD on Twitter. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter as well. You have at PuckGuy14, yours truly, alongside our backhander 76 and Eric Landy. That's Eric with a K, spelled the right way. Oh, wow. All right. So if you were expecting us to go off like crazy on how horrible they were playing or how horrible the officials suck or how Eric Furlat's trying to stick to the Sharks one more time, yeah, that probably went by the wayside in the third period.
No, the referees are still terrible. The outcome of the game does not excuse the quality of officiating throughout this evening's bout. That's all.
Oh,
That
that,
being
that
said,
let's lead into it, I guess, with that.
yeah, I mean, that being said, the Sharks did have 6 power plays tonight. They did get a lot of scoring chances, which is something they rarely do. But they finally got one to tie the game. They're still calling it Pavelski on the tip of a Brent Burns shot, correct?
Yes, it is. It is a Pavelski tip.
Okay,
Just the
just the
tip.
tip. Just the tip. Ties the game up. I'm going to go back to the first goal that started this comeback. A rocket backhander of a goal from Justin Braun. Of course, I have to start with Rocket on this one. What did you think of his goal and, well, for the matter, overall tonight?
What did I think of Justin Braun overall this
Well,
evening?
yeah.
All right. He misses Mark Edward, and I'm sure that it's having to adjust to a new defensive partner on the fly is just adds one more element to have to concentrate on. So for him to step up and contribute, I think it was like his first goal in 35 games,
Yep,
something.
you got it.
Yeah, that was really. There are hockey gods, and they do sometimes smile and occasionally nod towards San Jose, and that I believe was well timed.
Yeah. Landy, what did you take from that third period before we go into the whole synopsis of the entire game?
Um, I think that they finally got that lucky bounce that they needed. It was kind of a fluky backhand by Braun that kind of got it in. I mean, it was a no look backhand, and how many times do we see that actually work? I mean, it's pretty rare. I really liked Tierney drawing out the two defenders to the boards and then just centering it. I think it was a really, really understated kind of play. And on the power play goal, I mean, look, this power play right now is a one-trick pony, and that's the trick that they have is getting it back to Burns, firing it, and hope to God somebody either gets a tip or Burnsy gets it in. And right now, the power play is too stagnant. It's too predictable. But finally, it broke through. I still don't think that this is a remedy of anything, though. I think that this is just merely a result of finally breaking through with the same formula, but it's not gonna continue to work.
Yeah. No, it's a the same stagnant power play. We've talked about this many times before, where it's they set it up to Joe, and then it gets sent back to Burnsy. Burnsy takes the shot. You hope for something happens. They gotta figure out something differently down the road. I mean, it's just ridiculous as to how this turns about.
Yeah,
But let's. Oh, go ahead, lady. Before we
I yeah, I
start
mean,
our quick synopsis.
I think honestly, right now, the power play is on life support. It really is. I mean, 1 for 6 is not going to cut it, and this is a team that prides itself on its offensive play, and it's a team that has played together for a very long time, especially that top unit power play. It might be time to break it up.
Yeah, I would think so. Rocket, suggestions you would have on the power play?
I think that the first unit power play looked exceptional this evening. What I noticed that they started to do tonight, as opposed to other evenings, is they put more movement in their game. It is still very clean passes, trying not to get the bad rebounds and shitty bounces, but they are definitely moving a lot more. And if they are, I believe that's called cycling. No, if they're just moving with it and keeping themselves moving targets, they're throwing people off. I noticed it messed with the Leafs tonight a bit. So I think if they just continue to do that, then like Ian Reed in the chat says, power play unit that works year in and year out. I don't think that it necessarily needs to be completely gutted, but yeah, I think that little tweaks like this to their game are necessary, and they're also really productive.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have a nice change to kind of throw off their opponents. And I think you can go back to years past, maybe even before Burnsy was with the team. Maybe it's Boyle at that time, where it's trying to set up that point shot from Joe, and it gets rammed around back to Joe, and try to set up something. You got to have some change, whether it's personnel or where it's planning or playing. You got to have something to throw the opponent off.
All right, and this is I think this is kind of the crux of this problem. This year, I have seen Joe put passes in people's feet so many times, and it's very, very unlike him. And I think what we're starting to see is Joe, maybe because it's he's tired, or maybe it's just because he's kind of slowing down finally, but he's still he's still that focal point on that power play, but you're starting to see the focal point start to diminish a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the overall superstardom is, the shine is kind of wearing thin, a little bit. And so I think it's gonna take somebody to step up and really become the outlet in that power play to start making it work again. Because I think right now Jumbo, takes the puck, tries to control it down low. Really, he's the quarterback of the power play, so to speak. And Burns is your point man. And I mean, he's the trigger guy. So it's either you try and find somebody who quarterbacks it a little bit differently, or you try and maybe do a different kind of setup on the power play. But honestly, I think that power play really flows through Joe, and as he goes, the power play goes.
Yeah, I can't see them changing stuff too much, but even little plays, even if it's different, like Rocket said, they had a little more movement to it, and I think that helped them out immensely. AJ in the chat says the Sharks are 2 for their last 18 on their power play. That is just ugh. That's almost like icing the puck. And don't forget they gave up a shorthanded goal too. But let's kind of go back a little bit. We'll go back into the first period where they had a power play. Um, Freaking Zach Hyman. My goodness, he blocks a Burnsy slap shot, and he gets off the ice. 3 minutes later, he comes back, scores the first goal. And then I think later in the period on another power play, he blocks another shot, which stung him. I was having like flashbacks of freaking Mike Ricci with this guy, and it definitely got the Leafs going and definitely dominated the period for them.
Yeah, no, I think he kind of played that Swiss Army knife role tonight. He got a really good goal, um, blocked. I mean, very courageously blocked two shots. His form for blocking shots is horrible. He's literally going to get his knee shattered if he keeps going down to one knee and he lets like a Shea Weber slap shot hit him in the knee. It will shatter. So I
I
don't know.
wouldn't. I wouldn't want to. As much as you need to do whatever it takes to win, man. That takes guts to do that. So Hyman comes back, scores the goal, makes it 1-0. You kind of felt in Rocket All There Is to You. This kind of reminded me of Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Final, where they definitely used a lot of their speed to take advantage of a maybe a slightly tired Sharks crew that flew all the way out from San Jose.
Oh my God. It's not like they came over on a damn cargo ship for 10 days from China. It's a stinking airplane with lots of leg room. And they came over yesterday. Plenty of time to find junk food and say hi to their moms and dads and all the other stuff that they do when they're home.
I tend to agree with Rocket. I mean, I think that this is a team of professionals that knows how to travel, and I think that the excuse of not being ready because you're traveling, I think is overdone at this point. I mean, we have seen last year how good this team was on the road. We know it's in
Mm-hmm.
there, and we know that they can play at an elite level on the road. So I think that the whole notion of being tired kind of flew out the window last year. Sorry guys, the cat's
Yeah.
out of the bag.
Yeah. No, I think
What?
that the Leafs, they have a lot of speed, but they don't have a lot of experience. I think they're what are they? Yeah, they are the youngest roster in the
Yeah.
NHL, I believe. And that sets them up for a few seasons of just being deadly, especially with Austin Matthews in there. But for now, I think that they don't capitalize on nearly the amount of mistakes that their speed generates. But once they figure out how to work that to their advantage, they will be a force to be reckoned with. Worse than Pittsburgh. I would love to see these maybe the Penguins and the Leafs next year, just to watch that matchup and watch Sidney Crosby puke in a garbage can because he's so out of breath.
But then I'll ask this, guys. This is the third time in 4 games that they've given up a 2-0 lead. What is it about the start of this team? It just seems like they aren't ready to go then.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, in years past, we've seen this team have this issue, where they were a good third period team or a good second period team, and they sucked in the first. I think last year they were a great first period team, and then as the game went on, they kind of they were still positive differential across all of the board, but it kind of waned off as it went on. I think this year, I think everything is exacerbated by the scoring woes. I think when this team is fighting to get on the board early, it's kind of a mental block for them because they're thinking, okay, oh my God, we're gonna face another goalie who's gonna be hot tonight, and it's always a mental battle for this team. I mean, I don't think that they've ever really lacked the skill, but it's always been the mental fortitude of the team. And I think just right now they just have to get out of this slump. I mean, this prolonged scoring slump because scoring 2 goals a game is not going to get it done. They're going to need at least 3 goals a game. And having Donskoy sit at 2 goals, having Bodker sit at 2 goals, having
Joe Ward
Joel
sitting at two.
Ward sitting at 2 goals. I mean, that this is not gonna cut it. So I don't know what I don't know what the solution is. It's gonna be a combination of maybe bringing a Timo or maybe getting a hurdle back. But this team is going to need some kind of fire lit under it, and the vets need to know that there's kids waiting in the wing to inject some energy.
Well, I've got a question here, and this is sort of a maybe this is a dumb question, and maybe this is sort of a not so dumb question. I don't know. All right, so individually, their scoring numbers are down,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of it, there's a win column and a loss column.
Well, it's it.
And let
Go
me
ahead. Sorry.
finish.
Sorry.
If
Sorry. Sorry.
they
Sorry.
get through this entire season as the only team in the NHL that doesn't make it to 5, and they finish with a winning record in the playoffs, and everybody only has like 6, 7 goals the entire season, then all of this being huffy and puffy about them all having off years isn't necessarily them having off years. It's them playing a defensive system.
And you know what? I will agree with that. I think the other thing that we gotta kind of remember though is that
Timo McJesus.
I
Don't
mean,
start, Ian.
you look at the stats, just going down against goals for and goals against. I mean, their goals for is 2.34, and their goals against is 2.1. So you have a .2 goal differential margin, and what that tells me is that long-term success is not sustainable. You want to have at least a goal margin between your goals for and your goals against. And right now, this team, that having a .2 goal margin means that they are playing razor thin on the margins. Like a bounce here and a bounce there, like bad PDO will have a great effect on this team. The higher they score, the less effect PDO and advanced metrics will have, because you can score out of your own issues. So with that being,
That doesn't always work for Dallas.
I mean,
That's true.
but Dallas is unique because they give up so much, right? You have to have a positive goal differential, and I think it needs to be greater than 1 for ultimate sustained success.
I mean, the thing is, and I think entering tonight, I wrote this in the pregame or the game day. It was like the Sharks are like top 5 in allowing the fewest goals. However, they're like the bottom 5 in scoring goals. But Rocket's right. In the end, if you can sustain that down the road, and let's be real here, we never really see those 7-4, 6-5 crazy shootouts in the playoffs. If they can play like they've played, yeah, they can go deep. I mean, would we want some more offensive goal scoring? Sure.
Okay, but here's the thing about this, and Vince makes a good point here. He says Dallas is also not outscoring their mistakes due to injuries this year. Now, this is where having an offensive system actually comes in handy. And I had asked this question to Ian the other day, and he had no idea how to answer it. And fortunately for me, Dan Rosnowski and a couple of other people on the team answered it for me on tonight's radio broadcast. So thanks, guys. Having a defensive system like this where everybody across the board is playing with a little bit of defensively minded, it helps float them through these defensive injuries, like having Schlemko down and having whoever else down. Whereas if you have 2 or 3 of your, super, super high scoring power forwards down, there's a huge drop off in production, and you can't really shore that up anyway. So, I mean, yeah, from a preparation for eventual and guaranteed injury, I think going with the scoring heavy system just seems like you're setting yourself up to be like Dallas and get yourself injured out of actually going forward.
But I mean, honestly, I look at I look at last year and I look at our goals for and goals against. And last year, this team, and I'll just pull it up right now. This team finished, okay, goals for at 2.89, goals against at 2.52. So overall, that was 11th best goals for percentage and fourth best goals against average.
So they've improved their defense a heck of a lot, I would say. I
So,
mean,
but I mean, I'm just talking about last year. And
no, I know, but
last,
I'm saying from last year to this year, it seems like they've improved that a whole lot more.
I think that their defense is more adaptable. Let's just say that. I think that they can play with a faster team, and it's not as scary a drop off as it was last year. Because when this team got exposed against fast teams, that was lights out. I think this defense is a little bit more adaptable. However, being in the bottom 20 for goals for is not going to get you to the promised land. And when goal scoring dries up in the playoffs, you have to have the guys that your clutch go-to guys. I mean, they have to be relied upon. And if they're not being relied upon now and they're not getting it done now, I mean, sure, some teams can turn it on in the playoffs, and we've seen the LA Kings do it, and we've seen them have scoring issues all the way up to the playoffs, and then just be fine in the playoffs. It's possible, but I'm just saying for long term success, I don't think it's the best recipe.
Sure. I mean, but I think it's almost in the sense of whatever it takes to get the win, you get the win. If it means you have to play defense back a little bit more, then so be it. If it's going to take a goal, you know you have the offensive firepower to get it done. Um, but let's keep moving on. I guess we can. We all have Long Beach native Matt Nieto. I think maybe can we start doing San Ramon native Austin Matthews?
You know, I am so glad I'm not the only one that picked up on that needs to be added to the drinking game.
Thank you. Right?
Oh man.
I wish we played the. I wish Austin Matthews was an Arizona Coyote or Desert Dog.
Desert dog.
Because we would be having too much fun with that all the time. But nonetheless, I am absolutely in awe of what Toronto is building right now. I think their Shanna plan is looking like really promising. I mean, you can tell by these youngsters how they're developing so quick. What did you think of the Leafs themselves, Rocket?
They were bright blue uniforms. No, I don't. Toronto is the only city in the NHL that I'm fully supportive of having another franchise open in, and just another expansion team, maybe like 3/4 of a mile away from where the Leafs play, because there's that much of a need for live NHL hockey in that city. I can't imagine what hockey is like for a Leafs fan, because I don't really think that Leafs fans are made unless they're, you know what I mean, like they got to know somebody or they got to be related to somebody. You're sort of born into it. I don't know. It just feels like religion almost. So I kind of
Yeah.
I feel bad saying anything about them because it's almost like talking shit about the Pope. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's one. I mean you have the original six, blah 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 blah, and even though the Sharks are a member of the original 22, um, there's something about what they're building. I think you have the retool that the Sharks did, and the Sharks have been very successful with that. But you also have at the same time the rebuild that Edmonton's been on for like over so and so many years, that now they finally got a number one draft pick that actually does something for them. But Landy, I'll throw this to you. they're just, I mean, we saw what this Leafs team was last year, and they completely got blown out for 7-0 at home in San Jose. Then they lost again a 2-goal lead last year to the Sharks, and the Sharks won in overtime that time. But it definitely seems like the Leafs are coming on strong here, and they're not going to be too far off to making a playoff run.
No, I think you're look. God damn it! I keep saying I think the problem. Well, not even a problem. Excuse me. I'd have to say that you're really starting to see the young crop of kids coming up just being difference makers. I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
had. I think the first kid that really started the whole, I guess, youth movement, and we really started to see the influx of how good kids are at the youth level was Nathan McKinnon. You know, we saw Nathan come up and just play lights out, and he's a really good player. You look at Connor McDavid. You also look at Jack Eichel. You look at Austin Matthews. You look at Werenski. I mean, these are kids that are coming straight out of junior or coming out of their college programs, and they're ready. And I don't think that we've seen this amount of talent be developed in this little amount of time in quite frankly in the history of the NHL. You're really starting to see the trickle down effect of the new age post lockout game really get brought up to these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very exciting because this is all they know. Speed is all they know. They don't know clutching and grabbing. They don't know
Yeah.
obstruction. They don't know the old Patrick division or the old Norris division or the old Smythe division.
Mm-hmm.
So the game that we see today is the game that they've been playing all their lives, and they're just that much better at the game than most.
Mm.
That you make a good point there, Landy, because they most of them were so young enough that you didn't have the clutch grab, obstruction calls, and all that. That's an interesting point that you make there.
Wow,
Um,
Kevin Lacey comes up with an interesting stat in the chat saying that Maple Leafs are the second worst in the league when leading after two periods.
yeah,
Point
That's age. That's age.
you think that's youthful
experience.
exuberance,
Uh
kind
huh.
of.
Yeah.
Yep. They're
I think
not
it.
capitalizing on the mistakes the other team's making.
But
Yeah.
but hockey jerk saying, I said it last week and I'll say it again. If Frederick Anderson can play well, watch out for the Leafs. I thought he played really good
He
tonight.
had an outstanding night.
Mm-hmm.
He took on 42 shots, and I think the team in front of him, and I think you guys were right. I think it's the youthful exuberance kind of getting in the way and slowing things down. Kind of,
And that blue
you know,
line needs some work. Let's just
well,
put that out there.
but
That
it's Roman. Part of it's Roman Polak. Let's be real here. I mean, there's a reason why he's not in San Jose, but the Leafs were like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, but you got to remember he helped us get to two wins into 2 wins in the Stanley Cup. So
Exactly. I mean,
he, but we know exactly what you get, which is no speed,
no speed,
no
plenty of
movement.
strength.
Yep, he's a
Uh,
dork.
yeah. I just think the Leafs are on a good run. AJ clutch grab hockey perfected by Richie Thornton and Sundstrom. Yes, it's
We should
it's
try to
fun.
get Pollock back.
Oh, Rob, no, Rob. Good evening to you, by the way. Ian mentioned that, and it's a critical moment that they had tonight.
Ouch.
The goalie interference call that was taken off the board from Toronto. If it makes it 2-0, then throwing Matthews' goal, I mean, all the momentum would have been on Toronto's side, and it could have been worse. But what did you think of the goalie interference call on their Rocket?
Softer than 10-ply toilet tissue.
It was very, very soft. you can almost sleep on it. Of course. Um, Landy, what did you take on it,
It was
Landy?
interesting because you looked at it and Kadri did glance at
Mm-hmm.
Jones. However, I don't know that it was enough to overturn it. I think it was because it was called on the ice a no goal. I mean, it was waved off emphatically at first. I just don't think that there was enough to overturn what they had already called. However, if you go back and had that referee not waved it off so emphatically and just let the play develop and called it a good goal on the ice, I think it would have stood. So
It's
it's kind of a double edged sword there. You could also make the argument that Pavelski kind of pushed Kadri in, but you could also make
oh
the argument that Kadri turned into Jones when he could have turned out of Jones. There's a lot of
sure.
moving parts to this one because it was such a glance off of Jones and it was such skinny contact. Anyways, it was just going to be where the initial call was.
Yeah, I think Bakes hit it right on the head on the broadcast tonight. It's like you're going to have one coach, one fan base, one team, literally not going to like that call. I mean, if that was called a good goal, I could totally see it. However, it it didn't. I didn't think it didn't impede Jones' movement to make the save. I mean, yeah, that's a freaking. It's a freaking almost not pick, but why can't I think of it? Screen of him. I thought it was just it was crazy, and seriously, I was waiting for it to get overturned. I was waiting for it to get
Yeah.
overturned,
It was that
and
kind of night.
yeah, that's how that night was going. And considering it was Eric Furlat calling the
Mm.
game, which those remember Eric Furlat, um, he was the referee that was on the ice for Game Three against, was it Game Three or was it Game Four? I think it was Game Four. Sharks in Nashville that waved off Pavelski's game-winning goal when Shea Weber literally pushed them right into Rene
Yeah.
to score the game-winning goal.
Mm.
But this one, it was very chintzy. I thought tonight.
I totally agree.
How
And yeah, I think that it was really chintzy. It was also I don't know.
no,
I think that it really just needs to come down to really having a good solid definition of what goalie interference is.
yeah,
It
in
it's so convoluted. You just don't know what goalie interference is anymore.
yeah, it's like we've seen somewhere like Tommy Wingles years ago. I mean, we remember this
Oh,
number
the
of times,
Buffalo
especially
goal. The
Buffalo
Buffalo
goal.
goal.
I think it
Oh
was the
my
Calgary
god.
one that got screwed over. And we've seen where that minor contact gets waved off at the point. It just seems like it's so chintzy on that. I again I thought the Leafs kind of got a little hosed there, but at the same time they picked up the second goal,
Scoreboard.
and that's the important part is that the Sharks woke up in the third period, came out, and they start making their comeback, which is good because they just, like I said, they just seem to be getting off to a slow start.
So how about those Stars, huh? They're beating the Duckies 6-2 with 4 minutes left in the third. And if the Stars hold on, the Sharks take back first place.
Excellent.
Um,
Um,
Also, another
wait, really?
score.
I thought we were in first wild card.
Well, we
Entering
got
today.
yeah, and
Okay.
then we got 2 points, and we still have a game to play. So based on points percentage, we're better.
Yeah,
All
at
right.
the moment, actually, yes, unless Anaheim
Time
picks up a
wins.
point,
Yeah.
they'll keep first place. Well, with that, let's
Edmonton. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was going to go around the league.
Oh yeah, I mean Edmonton right now is losing to Columbus, 2-1. So again, I mean they're another team that is vying for first place, and I cannot believe I'm saying that still.
I can. It's been long enough. It's been I still am not sure how that ship's gonna look in 3, 4 years if Todd McClellan's still at the helm, to be honest. But
They've won enough. I mean, let's not go back to the '80s, okay?
if
They had
they're
the
gonna,
greatest player ever. They've had enough.
yeah, it's true. Um, well, not unless you ask NBC, then they'll all tell you that Sidney Crosby's the greatest thing that's ever been
Oh, Sidney Crosby's the
manufactured to play the
greatest
game.
ever. Yes.
Yeah,
Says Pierre Maguire.
No, everybody does. I just wish. I think that Sidney Crosby should retire because nobody has any sort of critical. It's like,
He
okay,
wants to go out on top.
yeah, it's like you're as good as it gets, Sid. There's nothing we can do. Just here, have all the damn trophies, and there's your car, and peace out, brown trout.
And not show up for all but one All-Star game.
Ever. Well, he's probably a concussion and a sprained ankle away from being done with his career.
And,
Let's
somehow gets a Conn Smythe trophy, even though he scored a total of 2 points in the cup
Hey,
final.
he's probably gonna be out for the Vezina next year. Okay.
The Jennings, give him the Jennings too.
Tempt him, he might make a remarkable save, and then all of a sudden you start seeing hashtag Crosby for Vezina.
Fuck it, give him the Norris too.
Oh God.
The man can play anywhere. Play at the point. Why not? Right?
Yeah. He can play. He can play anything, anywhere. All right. Fuck it. Give him all the awards.
That's how good he is. I mean, let's be real. He is a very good player. But my God, can we stop overhyping him?
No, we can't.
No, we can't. We literally can't.
You know what? That's why I like Austin Matthews so much, because this kid's incredible, and you don't hear everybody going trying to get him down their throat the way they do with Crosby. So I at least am.
And to add on,
he's an American. That's why.
And to add on to that, no, Rocket brings up a great point. The kid plays a good game. He does not showboat. He does not bitch and complain to every single ref. Mm-hmm. When he scored the 4th goal in his debut, what's he do? He puts his head down, goes back to the bench, been there, done that.
Yep.
And you don't see Crosby doing that. You see him showboating. You see him and his arrogant Canadian way. and what do you have? You have Austin Matthews, the good Arizonan boy. Born in San Ramon
native.
San Ramon native.
Raised in the Southwest. Been there, done that. Fuck Sidney Crosby. All right.
See what happens when you grow hockey in non-traditional markets. Yeah, that's right. No.
Yeah.
Let's go around the league before Ian kills me for slightly insulting. Oh gosh. All right. So Landy already said the Stars lead the Ducks 6-2. That's about 2 minutes left to go. So that looks like Dallas will win that game.
Wow. Who's in the pipes for that game?
Oh, great question. You got that, Landy?
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now.
All right.
In the pipes is Bernier for the Duckies and Niemi for the Stars. So don't hold
what's wrong with you?
Don't hold your breath, because a 4-goal lead is never enough with Niemi.
With 1:52 to go, I'm going to say I think they got this one though.
Watch they score 4 goals in a minute.
Apparently Dallas has scored 5 goals in the third.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's after Corey Perry scored 1:08 in the third period. That's insane. Holy crap. Let's see. Columbus now leads 3-1 on Edmonton. So if all these scores hold, it's going to be a nice night for the Sharks. Buffalo 6, Los Angeles 3.
Oh, I saw that one and I just laughed. I was like,
wait, the Sabres?
Yes.
The Sabres beat the Kings 6-3.
Jack Eichel scores, Brian Giunta scores, Jack Eichel scores, Evander Kane scores, Sam Reinhart scores. So, hey, look, another good old American doing what he's
Ollie
supposed to do.
Chop and Jack Eichel, top shelf where mama hides the cocaines. Um, sorry, I know, another bad impersonation of a play-by-play announcer.
Wow.
Washington 4, Islanders 2. Nah, we kind of expected that.
Mm.
I'm guessing the goaltender controversy in New York is now over as the Hawks beat the Rangers 2-1. Ranta started his fourth consecutive game and ends up on a losing run. It was Carolina 8, Vancouver 6. What?
And then it ended to what, 8-7 something or 6-7?
8-6 was the final. Carolina and Vancouver. Carolina, obviously frustrated from losing their game against San Jose, comes back strong with an 8-goal outburst. Arizona 4, Detroit 1. What the heck is going on here? Holy
And wait,
crap!
the Pacific's supposed to be absolute garbage.
Go figure. It's
How
Arizona that pulls it out.
Well, I mean, Anaheim and
was it
Edmonton
a
are
home
both.
game?
For Detroit, it was.
Oh,
I'm just saying that Anaheim and Edmonton are both losing. So,
Yeah.
and Los Angeles is now out of the playoff picture.
Uh,
Nashville finally gets its ass together and gets back into the playoff hunt. So they're now in the second wild card spot.
did you see?
and
Speaking of Nashville and the NHL All Star Game, uh, MVP, not MVP, but the captain voting that PK Subban is surpassed Patrick Kane in the division.
really
Yeah, for the captain.
nice. Who's leading the Pacific? If you
Not not Burns and not Thornton.
was it McDavid?
Yeah,
Is it
probably.
McDavid
I
still?
have
Yeah,
no
yeah. It's
idea.
it. Central's Subban, McDavid is Pacific, Crosby is Metro, Sexual, and Carey Price is Atlantic.
Yeah, but it'll magically get an injury than the game before and not go. And the other one that we didn't cover was what was it? I think it was Minnesota beat Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Minnesota.
Minnesota beat Florida 5-1. Boy, that coaching change worked big wonders for you, Florida. Waka
Uh,
waka.
Anaheim and Dallas went final.
Yeah, and okay, so
Okay.
Dallas wins 6-2. Barring a comeback from Edmonton, it looks like the Sharks will take over for sure, first place. Um, Barring Edmonton getting a point, it'll be the Sharks on top of the division again.
Three-way tie. A
Yeah, it's a,
three-way
it's a
tie.
three-way tie, but technically, where's Gen X? Technically, the Sharks have the tiebreaker because they have 16.
Rose.
That a boy.
Who's
Yes. Although they didn't get one tonight, I think that's their first non. Um,
Row.
ROWs?
yes, uh, that they didn't get in a victory. Anaheim and Edmonton have 14 of them at 35. Let's see. So pretty much all the Pacific Division is covered except for that Edmonton game against Columbus. Calgary goes to 34. Watch out. Here comes Calgary again. So Calgary's at 34. They hold the first wild card spot. Nashville, like Landy said, that goes to 30, and they take over the second wild card spot. LA's just on the outside looking in just because well, no,
I
I'm
mean,
not. No,
I
I'm not
mean,
sure
look.
as to why they do because
Yeah,
they have more wins. I'm not. I'm reading this right. They have 14 wins in 13 rows, but Nashville has 13 wins in 13 rows.
yeah. It goes to differential.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so that's
and
why they have a slight edge.
yeah, and I think that God, why do I keep saying I think? I have problems.
Because you like to think, and that's a good thing.
No
Don't
problem.
worry.
I have problems. But
We
look
all
at
do. Don't
Edmonton
worry.
and Calgary. They have played three more games than LA and two more games than us and Anaheim. And and Anaheim's going to actually go to 30 games. So the Sharks still have a 2-game cushion. Well, they have a 1-game cushion on Anaheim, but they'll catch up tomorrow.
Right.
And they would have another 1-game cushion on Edmonton. I mean, if the Sharks can get 4 points and give themselves a little bit of padding, I mean, that's going to be 4 points that they'll have on Edmonton and Calgary. So the Sharks really have to make some hay tomorrow. I think that it's going to be really important for Dell to bring his A game. And let's just hope that Dell plays tomorrow. I mean, what are we going to take odds on if Jones is going to play twice?
I go ahead, Rocket.
That's a good question. Oh, fuck. I don't want to say that I would be okay. I would not be surprised to see Joner in the net tomorrow. He had how many shots on net tonight?
He had. Let's see. It's
the saves.
Yeah,
no.
saves.
Oh yeah.
He had 29 saves on 31 shots.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I still, and then the shootout and
throwing
and
the three in the
overtime.
shootout.
And overtime. Oh, I think it'll depend on how he feels tomorrow. If he wants to go ahead and give Dell the Sens game, then I think that's fine. If he doesn't and he still feels like he's not super sore and stuff and he wants to take it, then it wouldn't surprise me.
See, and I would think that you give Dell the game for Ottawa. You give him the big marquee matchup Friday night in Montreal where it's Price versus Jones. I mean, why not? Give him another extra day of rest, especially since you're going back to back.
Because I think that
or you just keep running with him.
Jones is your goalie. You give him every game he wants. He gets first crack at everything. And if he says no, I'm gonna pass, then you give it to the other guy.
Well, I mean, Puck Guy definitely brought up a really good point about the rematch between Price and Jones. I feel like that's going to be something that Jones is going to want to take. So I don't know. I guess I'm on the train of Dell going tomorrow, so then Jones can play against the marquee matchup. You're going to be in Montreal. You're going to need to be on your A game. I mean, that's just how that barn. Yeah, that barn is just, it's something different.
And that being said, it's not like Ottawa's a pushover. I mean, they're still tied for second in the Atlantic with 34 points. So I mean,
and they just beat us.
And they just beat us too. So I mean, they've lost 2 in a row though. But yeah, at this point, why take the chance of overplaying now?
And Nick Teppett's in the chat says Jones gave up 3 goals at home against the Senators. I think make it Dell. It's not a conference foe he needs to master. It's a very good point there.
I second that. What about, when's the bye week?
Our bye. Well, see, here's the thing. So we had that 4-day layoff earlier prior to and I think we don't forget there's also like a 4-day All-Star break, which of course the All-Star game is in LA. So even if we get like a gajillion Sharks to go, it's not too much of a distance. But the bye week, I think, is sometime late February.
February 20th to the 24th.
Yeah, it's right before the Sharks go on to play Vancouver in Vancouver.
Drink.
Yes. Between Long Beach natives, San Ramon native, Desert Dogs, and me.
Long stick of Donskoy.
Long stick of Donskoy?
Yeah, that Donskoy without long stick. Oh, no long stick of Donskoy. Oh, like seriously.
Yeah, getting 2 hands on that stick.
But that stick's at least a foot longer than every other stick out there. I'm serious.
You know what? I'm just looking at the schedule now. It's three games and 4 nights. You're gonna put Dell in tomorrow. I have no doubt that Dell's gonna be in tomorrow. Because you also then have Chicago on Sunday.
Exactly, and you finish off with Chicago, and you know they're gonna want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks in the chat, if you have questions, AJ's. Hockey Jerk actually did say, did somebody say Vancouver? So AJ, keep
Vancouver.
quiet. But hey, chat and those watching through Twitter, questions fire away. Kevin Lacey, do you think Donskoy needs to go to a shorter stick? That long stick might be why he keeps losing the puck.
Hey, Dan Boyle had to cut down his stick, and it did wonders for his game. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that one.
He was having the power play outage thing, and he took a look at his stick. He's like, my stick is an inch longer than it used to be. and he went on a tear right after he readjusted his stick.
No, it's true. It's very true.
Yeah, well, there was that one guy who used to play with. He was colorblind, and his teammates, I guess, didn't know it, and they switched out his clear visor with the yellow one, and he scored like 3 goals that game. And so afterwards, and afterwards he just left it on for several games after that because he thought it was magical. And slight equipment change.
Whatever works, right? No, I absolutely agree on that.
So are we gonna take bets on if Vlasic will be in tomorrow?
Oh boy.
I think he is.
I would. Rocket.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on it. He's going to want to play Friday night in Montreal.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it depends on how he's feeling again, and go from there. It's probably going to be. It's probably going to be wanting to go for Montreal, but it also depends on how he's feeling.
Ian Reed in the chat asking, how would you stop a killer meteor from destroying all life on Earth? Frankly, Ian, I wouldn't.
Rob Humphrey says, chicks dig the long stick.
Oh, jeez.
And Mike Nevis saying, chicks dig pickles.
Who was the other player besides Kyle McLaren that wore a yellow visor? Was it Eric Weinrich? I don't know. Google it.
Yeah, no. Gosh, I can't.
Oh, hey, guess what?
Man.
Pucknologist will be recording on Thursday evening because there's a game tomorrow night. So catch the newest edition of Pucknologists, your weekly Sharks Roundup podcast, tomorrow night. Probably sometime on Friday after AJ gets it edited. Me, AJ Strong, and Hockey Jerk.
So Friday, I would expect it. Don't forget, because of the game on Sunday, this is the first time we actually done it, so I'll mention it too. The writers' room will take over Pucknology after dark, following the Chicago Blackhawks Sharks game.
So, hey guys, you guys are getting the primetime spot. So don't fuck it up.
And Drew Weber, no pressure, guys. No, you guys will be fine. But yes, against Chicago, that's a big get. So go after it. But definitely, by all means, and I'll use this time to now use as a shameless plug. Make sure you check us out on. Let's see, guys, help me out if I don't.
We're like herpes. We spread everywhere.
But you like us. It was hockey. Let's see.
Google
Tinder, Grindr, LinkedIn, MySpace,
Tinder.
Yeah, no, I said Tinder, Grindr, LinkedIn, MySpace,
Bumble,
Bunnyfish, OkCupid, Elo. There's a Tumblr. You can find us on Twitter,
Reddit,
Instagram, Reddit. Yeah.
When Laney doesn't piss off the Sharks Reddit.
Yeah, I'm kind of persona non grata.
Right. But seriously, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud,
Kick,
Snapchat.
You know what? I might actually log into my AOL Instant Messenger to keep that up. Ooh, and it's been
SoundCloud, Stitcher, MySpace, TuneIn, and Carrier Pigeon. Also, Raven, Smoke Signals,
Crop Circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Big in Ireland.
When we get in Regina to do that, I don't know. But nonetheless,
honestly, Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud. Do we have
Stitcher, MySpace, TuneIn, and Carrier Pigeon?
Do we have a feed burner? I feel like that's also one we should also get to.
Probably.
If not, let us know. So
Uh,
by all means. Oh, Jessica, thank
we
you so
also
much.
arrow like message on a flaming arrow. That's also another
Yes.
method of delivery
Oh,
available.
owl. A little Harry Potter action
Hey,
for you.
there you go.
Oh boy.
Audible.
Mhm.
Kevin Lacey says Audible. Does our sponsor have us, Eric?
I can
Yeah, we are
confirm
on
or deny that, but
audible.com.
I'm sure we have because
Why not?
you know what, Kevin, you gotta go check. Sign up for a free trial at audibletrial.com/PAD, and you find out whether or not we're on there.
Ticker tape and Morse code is also coming soon.
Mm. Uh,
Sheehan.
Courier Dolphin.
Oh my god. Nonetheless, by all means, double check on that, and check out all our podcasts. We love doing it, and this team deserves more love than it gets in the media. But nonetheless, check them out. So they move on about 100 or so miles down the road to Ottawa. What do you expect tomorrow night, Rocket?
I expect grindage and carnation of all shapes and sizes and aromas. There's going to be hijinks and low jinks. Someone is going to get hit. Another person's going to get hurt. The puck will go flying, frozen furiously across the ice. And after 60 minutes, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose.
Yeah,
Oh, Rocket, that
with
was amazing.
I also
Bravo.
have to agree with Rocket. I also wonder if Burnsy's gonna get really really high. I just remembered that they don't have any rules on pot up there, and Burnsy seems like he would get really high, like really stoned.
Well, I think isn't that part of the against the drug policy of the league?
Uh,
I thought it was kind of gray on that one.
Yeah, I
okay, so
wasn't sure.
I asked someone who actually works for a team and who I was like, "How is it with this?" And he's like, "Yeah, if they don't do anything, they
Yeah.
basically they only if it's like a performance enhancer that you're not supposed to have, or I guess, or mostly it's if it becomes an issue, it becomes a problem."
It becomes right because they have the substance abuse program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's
if it becomes a problem where like you can't show up to practice or you can't make your production in games or whatever, then it becomes a problem.
Yes, yes.
But if you can do
Evander
an 8
Kane.
hour week and still make, like 3 points a freaking game, then whoa, and no one's gonna say jack shit about you testing positive for cocaine.
Paging Jared Stoll. Jared
Sidney
Stoll.
Crosby.
oh boy.
Oh!
Wow.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Sidney Crosby is a cokehead.
Wow. Great. I'm so glad we don't play Pittsburgh the rest of the year.
Hashtag confirmed.
Me too.
Kevin Kurz mentioned this on his Twitter, and this is a little bit interesting because he did tour the Hockey Hall of Fame the other day. He said maybe Justin Braun was inspired tonight after I told him this morning his Stadium Series jersey is on display at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Aww.
So maybe there was some little bit of inspiration. So Kersey, way to inspire the Sharks there, buddy. Appreciate it.
Wow, Kersey going undercover and deep investigating. I can't believe it.
Deep. No, Landy. It's way inside.
All right, Eric, are you going to take this thing home, or are we just going to
Yeah,
spin our wheels for another 20 minutes?
no. We're not going to do a 2.5 hour show. Although that was fun to watch. If you didn't see that and you have a lot of time, especially since these are East Coast games, by all means check out Saturday night's show.
The 2 hour one?
The 2.5 hour extravaganza.
Oh yeah, the watch Ian try not to breathe into a paper bag while Rocket steers the show.
Hey, you know what? That was an entertaining and that was a fun show. You guys did a great job, and Rocket, kudos to you to keeping Ian nice and calm.
CBJ wins, by the way.
All right, so Columbus wins. That means it is a 3-way tie for 35 points. But of course, since the Sharks have 16,
Rose.
RWs.
they do have technically first place in the Pacific Division. It may not be a division that has over 40 points and a team that hasn't won 9 in a row, but by all means, uh, it's a pretty damn competitive division right now. Uh
Dad Chris is in the chat. We got to go. It's already off
oh.
the. It's
Uh
off
oh.
the
Uh-oh,
rails.
guys.
We better get going. So with that, we end. This kind of came out during the middle of the game tonight, so we're gonna end a little bit on a somber note. But actor, musician, you know, Dr. Seaver, uh, Alan Thicke, passed away while playing hockey tonight with his son. He was just out of nowhere. This came out, and we were stunned, especially since his Twitter had a feed, uh, uh, a tweet that came out 3 hours prior. But of course, he Canadian, a huge hockey fan. He would attend a lot of Ducks and Kings games. So our thoughts with the Thick family in this tough time. And with that, we will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, take care and have a great night.